Hello, everyone, and nice to see you all here. Okay, let me share my presentation. Share. Okay, a minute. Okay, so is it okay? Right? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. So first of all, thank you so much for the invitation. Thank you, Andrea and SALTO SEE, for organizing such an event, because I think it's very useful for the organization, especially for to work with ESC teams, volunteering teams. Well, I would like to present shortly what is the experience of Beyond Barriers, a short journey, our journey with volunteering, and especially with volunteering teams, how we started and what we are doing now. I would like to to share with you our approach to volunteering. So with whom we work, what is the target group, what is the process, the support that we do for volunteering teams, and why is good, for organization to use these volunteering teams activities, because the impact that they provide for community organization and the volunteer itself. Also, I'd like to share one example, which is implemented from Beyond the Barriers, Team Ups, in October 2025. Also, to share with you what were some challenges and what motivated us to continue with volunteering teams. So, if you see, I put some kind of milestone, because Beyond Barriers started to work with volunteers in the European level in 2006. Actually, when we were created in 2004, our association, one of the main pillars, it was volunteering, and it is volunteering, even because, the history that Albania has with the concept of voluntarism through communism, which were not real voluntarism. So we use the volunteering in international level to support the changing approach and mindset to volunteering in Albania. So first we started in 2006, sending some volunteers. It was a project when we sent volunteers in Romania, I remember quite well, in Denmark, in Spain. And then during all of this year, 2006, up to 2011, we sent a lot of young people in European organizations. In 2011, we felt ready to host volunteers. We had the role for hosting volunteers, but we felt ready in 2011. So then we started with individual volunteerings. And then later on, in that previous program, was existing volunteering groups. It was kind of the same with volunteering teams that is now. So we continue to work with that. And I remembered that we hosted a lot of volunteering groups also. And now with different change that are done into the European Solidarity Corps program, we are hosting also volunteering teams. What we learned from this journey is that if we, in the beginning, we saw this type of project as just implementing a project, then we understood that it needs to create the ecosystem for volunteering. So how volunteers can come, can work, can learn, and can cooperate all together. When it comes to a bit of philosophy of our work, we base the volunteering, and I'm referring here to volunteering teams, also to the one that we called the value-based approach. So volunteers are coming, and at the core of the volunteering work is to promote those values which even the European Solidarity programs is created. So respect for human rights, inclusion, solidarity, equality, gender balance, gender equality, and so on. So we promote values, and especially in our organization, the main target groups that we work are young people with fewer opportunity, especially young people with disability, learning disabilities, young people with hearing impairment, with intellectual disabilities. So this is one of the target groups that our volunteers are working, and in this case, it's on the volunteering teams. And another one is competence-based volunteering. And it's a new trend, this, because we know that volunteering is not for profit, but indirectly, young people who volunteer, they improve their competencies. So we saw the volunteering implementation program, even from these aspects. Now, Dragan already explained very well what is the difference between individual volunteering and the team volunteering. Of course, the team volunteering, as Dragan mentioned, is short, is more intense, but I think it's very important to this learning component because it's collective. And this makes it different from the individual learning volunteering. For us, usually the volunteers that we engage, even for those who we hosted and those which we send it, used to, it's kind of entry point because it's providing an opportunity for those youngsters who are working, those youngsters who they are not feeling comfortable to come alone, so they need some friends or teams. And of course, there is a strong accent on the inclusion. Where volunteering are working for us, mostly the volunteering teams are, they have different activities, and it has to do with social inclusion and vulnerable groups, environmental, climate action, human rights, civic engagement, but the topic, of course, can be so much. For us, it functioned mostly for sport activities. So we did some teams for sport activities, Erasmus Days presentation, when we have summer schools or summer camp, or when it was a youth festival. So our teams, mostly it was a concrete activity, and with a collective efforts, all of these collective efforts, they created visible and immediate impact. When it comes then to the support, this is very important because, okay, volunteer teams are coming for a short time, but quality is very important also. And for our organization, we do all the process that we do for individual volunteering. And as you see, we have before, during, and after phases, which maybe for volunteering teams, it's not going very much in details as we do for individual volunteering. But however, we follow all of this phase. And before phase is very important because it's this behind the stage that you don't see, but if this phase it's not well prepared, then it can create a lot of problems. So before the volunteers come in our organization, we screen, we do the selection, and what it's very important, we see their motivation, why they are coming to volunteer. And when most of the case we have the inclusion dimension in our project, so it needs a tailor-made preparation. If you would have young people who are coming with disadvantages backgrounded, but even because we work with people with disability and young people with fewer opportunity. Also, I would recommend this preparatory visit, which are very important for the inclusion. So in case that you would implement, I would suggest that because that is an opportunity to use it in the program. So then you could have a visit to the organization where you are sending volunteering teams or where the partners can come to visit what you are doing. Then during when the volunteers came, of course, you have orientation, mentoring, then you provide space also for this volunteer, no matter it can be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a bit later, a bit longer. It's very important to provide space for them if they have some creative ideas, and reflection, and of course, monitoring and emotional checkups. After, the learning validation, reintegration support, experience sharing, which is very important because volunteering is about inspiring also, and we talk it's about values. So it's very important to share with others what we do and to share that there are these opportunities, so why not other young people to use it? Then when it comes to some challenges that we encountered, of course, during our years working with volunteers and volunteer groups and volunteering teams, of course, it has been not such an easy process, and I'm presenting now. Some of the challenges that we faced, it was about overestimating volunteer readiness. What does this mean? So sometimes we know that volunteers come with a lot of motivation. You see that in their motivation letter, but even when you have the interview. However, even those who are highly motivated, they need a solid structure, they need clarity, they need emotional guidance, because they're coming to navigate in a new ecosystem. So of course, you need to check well this, and to us has been a challenge this. Inclusion needs under-assessed at the start. Not always for us. We did let's say, assess quite well the needs of young people with fewer opportunities that we hosted. So sometimes we want to, when we have the good intention, but it doesn't. It's not enough. So for volunteers for the team volunteering, I think, especially in inclusion, it needs intentional planning, not only good intention. Another challenge we faced, it was too ambitious schedule, and this ambitious schedule can lead to burnout. So sometimes we want to do a lot of things, but this need to be balanced among learning, among impact, among activities, and also the rest. We all know that these are projects which offer a great opportunity for intercultural learning, for visiting the country, for being open-minded towards our other culture. So volunteers need to work, to learn, but even to rest and to visit a little bit the country, to talk with young people, to have this opportunity. And we have done this. This has been a very big challenge sometimes for us, because we always putting a lot of pressure to volunteers with a lot of activities. Volunteers need to breathe also. Culture misunderstanding, okay, this was mostly when you have volunteers from different countries, but even from different regions of one country, and always the intercultural dialogue should be there and should be talked about that. Another challenge I think we faced, it was assuming motivation is equal to resilience. Not always the volunteers who are the most motivated, they are able to, to be flexible. So we don't need to assume things. And one thing that it's very important is that each project that we hosted, it's a different one. We cannot say that we know the process, we will do this and that as we planned. Each group that is coming, it has its own features. So you need to really be careful. So all of this challenge that we faced, we try to address, of course, and we try to do our best. So then we had stronger preparation phase. We learn how to do better agreement, rights, tasks, responsibility, a clear role among who is sending volunteers, and then us in this case that we host. And this is very important, because I think, in my opinion, most of the volunteering teams project that we hosted has been quite successful, but it was not only because of our merit. It's even the merit of the partner and the work done for preparation of volunteer. I think this is very important. One of the volunteer projects that I told you we hosted in October in Tirana. It was we cooperated with Basilica Link from Italy. They were lead and supporting, and then we hosted the volunteers from 14 to 29 of October in Tirana. And what the volunteers did, there were a lot of activities actually that they participated. We do have 2 greenhouses in association, which we built within some institution for children with hearing impairment, and a school for children with intellectual disabilities. We have a mobile youth center, we have an e-learning platform, and then we try to combine all of these activities, so then even to provide a variety of tasks and activity for volunteers, so then they can find their self, comfortable. So we hosted 10 volunteers, 5 were international from Italy and 5 they were Albanian, and this is very good opportunity, so you could mix the teams. Of course, we did all this online communication. Rafaela, that is here present, she is a coordinator of volunteers, so she did all this process for recruitment, checking the motivation, pre-departure training that was done from the sending organization. And of course, we do our welcome and orientation, not so long as we do it for individual projects. We do a tour in the neighborhood, which is very important because in the same neighborhood, we have the place of the office, the volunteers are staying around, their accommodation, and then we make the presentation of organization activities. So all of these volunteers can feel comfortable. What did they do, the volunteers in this project? They have done a lot of activities with young people with fewer opportunities, and in this case, young people from pupils or children with hearing impairment. So they were doing their mostly activities related to culture, because culture was one of the main topics of this project. So they teach them how to do pasta, how they can do pizza. But on the other side, we presented to volunteers these inclusive education practices that we have in the institution. So they were working together with children and pupils in the greenhouse, in the laboratory of art and ceramic that we have in institution. Also, they were organizing a movie night with some young people of member of our association. Also, if you see here, they organized this movie night, and it was thanks also to the partnership that we have with some institution, like in this case, some youth director in Tirana, and then mixing the international with Albanian. I think it's quite a strong point and a good asset for this type of project. Also important is that we need to celebrate, not only to work, absolutely, we need to celebrate. For example, in Tirana, there is an activity, it's a kind of business, it's called Albanian Night. So we go there with our volunteers, some Albanians and some, and the volunteers from abroad, so they can learn about Albanian culture and this incorporating this dimension of intercultural learning. For you, I would give an advice which has to do with, as I said again, for as I mentioned before, for preparatory visits, it's very important. So as you are a newcomer or doing for the first time these activities, I would recommend that you visit and know very well the partner. And preparatory visit, it's one of the action that you can use. 2 moments I put here. It's learning. Team flourish when they feel part of community, not just a project. For us, if I would elaborate a little bit this, it has to do with sense of belonging, because it's very important that participants, that young people who come to volunteer, to feel that they belong to the community and not just one project that will go. So we try to connect, to create this bridge with community, with our youngster here and the target group that we work. And I think this is very important. And I think that even a short activity, like it might be a volunteering team, can create a long-last learning impact experience for volunteers. And the second one quote that I put here is, ESC teams are not about doing more in less time, they are about learning better together. Well, if I would measure the value of ESC teams project, I don't think it's measured by numbers or by task completed, but with the quality of reflection, cooperation, and of course, shared growth within this collective learning, which I think it's keyword. So for us, it's functioning like this. Okay, I think what we do differently today. Of course, it's like we plan earlier now, more realistically, because of course with experience you try to improve and to make perfect the systems that you are working. We have strong risk assessment now. We are more flexible, and we use the preparatory visit, of course. For example, with a link from Italy, we used to work in the past. However, we had Rafaela that went in link to have a preparatory visit for a cooperation with for other project also. So use that one. And of course, we train more leaders now and more mentors, more activists, which could be part of the teams. So as you see, the photo is in the institution for children with hearing impairment. The children enjoy so much. The activities, they did pasta, as I say, they did the pizza, and they talk about culture, storytelling. They use all different means, to communicate. Okay. That was all regarding I don't know how much time I have, because, I lost somehow when I started. Maybe I'm right.
You slowly need to finish, so feel free to wrap up.
Okay. So just very shortly, we had an experience regarding a project that was called I Live, and it was a project which was submitted to executive agency in Brussels in volunteering in high priority areas. It was submitted by CEV in a cooperation with some European organizations, so Beyond Barriers was part of that project also. And we hosted, it was implemented in September, 16 September 4 October 2025. It was this mobility in Albania. It involved 12 volunteers from Spain, from Turkey, two from Turkey, three from Spain, and 7 local volunteers. With half of them, they were young people with fewer opportunities. What was the topic of the project was they come in Albania, they work with young people with fewer opportunities in sport activities. So we again cooperated with Institution for Children with Hearing Impairment because they have a sports club there. So then we teach pupils there how they can do, not we teach, but volunteers teach them how they can how they can improve their sport club, and then how they better organize different sport activities. So they had kind of tasks, for example, like how to be the coach, how to be the referee, how to be the timekeeper, media team members, so different roles. And we use a mechanism which was called taster. So we train first young people, volunteers who come to do this taster with a module that was it was kind of the same for all the organization. And then they went in the institution, in the sport club, and then they performed these roles with the pupils. As Dragan said, regarding the why is different from volunteering, I guess Dragan explained that quite well. With as a regular activity, it's mostly more. So if a individual volunteering is mostly based in the organizational need in the local level, this type of projects are mostly respond to some European priorities, which are decided by executive agency. So then this type of projects are submitted to executive agency and not to the national agencies. It was a very nice project. It's still continuing on. So we still we finished for Albania, but there are other activities around with a partnership because it's in a larger scale. And of course, there are videos. There is a lot of information in our website and our social media. So please check for more, and in Instagram, especially when we publish there a lot of videos and content regarding the work of the volunteers. Okay.
Thank you very much, Anna. Do we have, I think we can take one question if we have a question among the participants. If not, I think Anna will as well happily respond in the emails or here in the chat. But I think, Anna, this was super interesting, and thank you for sharing all of this.